Fair enough. I also have started it. Now, let me share my screen. Hang on for a sec. Few of you are here, maybe who are already existing with PCS, not as an intern, maybe with some other distribution. For them, it would be a recap, but it's fine. So today we will start Python from the scratch. Okay, it's not like that. Actually, we will start Python from somewhere big, made up something. No, I will presume that all of you have some idea, but not a huge idea. So with that perception, actually, I will proceed. Is it making sense? So shall I proceed like that?
Yes, sir. You can,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I am especially asking it to the IEM team. So are you guys comfortable with that?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So guys, I want or I need the clarity that how long actually we can plan. Is it for 1 month, 1.5 months, 2 months, like
Sir,
something like that?
actually, we had actually the official time that is given by our college is 31st July, but we have already mailed our HOD sir regarding that we want to proceed further till 15th of August, but we haven't received any confirmation mail yet, sir. So once we receive it, we will let you know. Like we will let you know by Saturday only.
Perfect.
Okay,
No
sir. Thank you.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So yeah, so on that day, maybe I can roll out, maybe on that day or maybe on Sunday, I can roll out the actual curriculum so that actually will go accordingly. Because until unless I'm not getting the 10 years, it's very difficult to plan actually. Okay, so I hope you can understand my point. Okay, fine. So let's go with the Python part. So the first question, what is Python? Which is very silly question. But here there's some explanation. You guys, it is visible, right, to all of you. What is written, it is visible. The first line, Python is very high level, dynamic, object-oriented programming language. So let's take a look one by one. Not, first of all, I hope all of you or maybe most of you are familiar with Python to some extent. Maybe people who are familiar with all the things, it would be a recap for them, and who are completely new to pure Python. For them also, it would be a very good journey. It's a fresh journey for them. All right. So Python is a very high-level programming language. Can anyone please tell me what is high-level programming language? I'm asking it from the IEM group. Okay. Existing who are with PCS, so please do not respond to this because already you are familiar with this term and all these things. So it is a question to IEM group. Could you please tell me that what is a high-level programming language?
Hello, sir. Can I say something about
Yeah, of
what
course.
is high level?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
of course.
Sir, a high level language like C is also a high level language where we have to write down programs, but it is not depending upon the computer OS. Like we do not depend on the computer OS like a Macintosh or maybe it is a Windows. It is independent language. It doesn't depend on any platforms, and which is
You can
quite
say platform independent, I'm accepting that. But when you are saying computer OS dependent, it's not computer OS dependent. I'm not a big fan to say that, to be very honest. Because any programming language, if you would like to run, then you have to have some computer OS. So without that, you cannot run it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So the thing
that is
will be,
the
I think,
thing.
sir, the platform independent language, and it is quite, it is very easy to write down because it is acceptable to human languages as well, which is also acceptable for the machine. So machine understands what do we write, and then it returns back, in our languages.
Like we can say high level language is that kind of language what is more than independent programming language
What does
such
it mean exactly? More than independent than other programming language means?
like what I said.
Sir, can I add something?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, high-level language means the abstraction level is high. Means we do not need to say a lot of things to the computer, and we can use just simple command. Sir, in case of C, we need to type a lot of things. Like the syntax is not that much easy with compared to Python. C syntax is quite, I think it's my perspective only. The syntax of C language is quite difficult with compared to Python. So in case of Python, we just need to type a command, and we can operate the language by just typing a command. And this is called high level language and more user friendly.
So as per your definition, is C a high level language or C is not a high level language?
Sir, as per my definition, C is not a high level language.
Okay. To say that,
Yes, sir.
it's
C
not
is a
C.
high level language, sir.
Yeah.
So C is also as well.
C is also a high level language. So let me not make some confusion. Let me give the answer clearly. So high level languages are those languages which are basically more human centric. Human centric means it will be written in plain and simple English keyword. It's a vanilla English keyword. Vanilla, do you know what is vanilla English keyword? It's nothing but plain and simple English keyword that you, me, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can understand. Whatever be the language of C language, people who are familiar with C, that is also written that way only. I mean, it is not like some gibberish written and you cannot read it out. But if you try to look into some machine level language or low level language rather to say, those languages are very much difficult. You have to be a very specific person to read those languages more precisely. If you don't have a background, you cannot read it. So Python, let's forget about the C, C++ and all these things. Python will be written in very plain and simple English keyword or English language. Guys, trust me, today is the first session of Python and I'm telling you, if you know English or English word properly, then Python learning is just a cup of tea for you. It's very easy. It's very easy. Okay, let's move on to the next word, that is dynamic. Any idea what is a dynamic programming language? Or let me add it clearly. It is basically dynamically typed programming language. Any idea?
It can be dynamic means like it can be broken down into pieces so that we can execute it by in a structured method. Like, I'm not sure, but I think like that. Like it can be changed in a way. It is not that this is only the. It is not like a particular block that we have to follow that particular structure only. We can divide the programming into different sub blocks and execute it according to our need or requirement.
Okay.
Sir, it can be a flexible language as well. I mean, it is not that strict language to perform. I mean, it is very flexible for executing any program or to organize it. So it can be a dynamic language.
Okay.
So basically, it gives an idea about the presentation and execution of a program at the runtime during compilation.
Hello.
Yeah.
Dynamic means it is not static. That is that we can change the value of variable by user define. What value we need, we can put by user and we get the result. That is called, it is dynamic, according to me.
Exactly. That's the right answer.
I think we can
Yeah.
change the value during the runtime.
Yeah.
We can
One
change
type
the
of
input.
what I said, you said the similar type, I think.
Okay. Yeah, both, I mean, that is more closer to the answer. So basically dynamic. So this is my Anaconda prompt. I hope you guys are familiar with this kind of environment. It's a black screen, basically Anaconda prompt. And this is the base path where my Python is located, and I'm typing Python over here. If I just type Python, something will open. So this is more like the information, which version of Python I'm using. I'm using the latest version almost. It is 3.7.3, which is basically March release, and all the information you will find over here. And how we will know that you are into the Python environment? So this 3 arrow will indicate, especially after comment prompt. So when you are in comment prompt, so there if you find, after typing Python, if you find these 3 arrows are there, that itself will indicate, okay, that you are in Python environment. Okay. Now, so if I just type something like a equal to 10, which type of data it is? It's a numeric data, correct? Now, if I try to print the value of a, I'm not going the bifurcation whether it is integer, floating, that I will come later. But I'll plain and simple what I'm saying, it is a numeric data. If you try to print, it will print the value of a. Now, again, next line, if I write a equal to high, and then again, if I call print, it will give me high. Now, the problem is, in the runtime, when I'm trying to change the value of my variable, a is what? A is basically a variable. I hope you guys are familiar with the term called variable. Variable is nothing but a placeholder. It can hold any kind of value. Okay, because you cannot keep the values separately, or maybe if you have some set of value, to represent those values, you have to have one variable. Correct. Now, suppose you are working, so all of you are working for different domain. Maybe some of you are working for MIS, some of you are working, I'm talking about in terms of this, just to make you understand what is variable. Suppose you are working for different domain. Okay. So if I want to give the name of that particular domain, some of you are working for sales, some of you are working for MIS, some of you are working for development, some of you are working for data science. Now, if I just give a name, doesn't matter whoever you are, but you will be treated as a data science professional, or maybe as a software developer, or maybe as a salesperson, something like that, a sales executive. So basically, variable is something which is used to hold some value. Without a variable, if you just type some value, you cannot use that value near future. Because of that reason, we need a variable. So a is a variable. Here also a is a variable. But then what is the dynamicity here, or dynamic changes are there? So here you can see I have written a equal to 10. On the next line, I have written a equal to high. So I can change the value continuously in Python environment. But if you use an environment like Java, probably people who are familiar with the term called Python, they are also familiar with the term called Java, which is another one of the most popular programming language. That is again a high-level programming language. But in Java, you have to mention the data type of the variable beforehand, whether it is integer or maybe float or maybe character or maybe string, that you have to specify early. Then you can push the value. So in Python, it is happening in the reverse way. So here, if you write Java or maybe some other that sort of program, like there you have to mention the variable type, whether it is integer, whether it is string or some other thing, you have to mention that which type of variable it will be. And based on that, actually you can provide the value. So if I write int a, in the next line I can write, or I can only pass integer type of value. Guys, I hope you guys are familiar with integer, floating point number, character, string. Any one of you are here who is not familiar? Don't feel shy. Just let me know. Anyone of you are here who is not familiar with this term called integer, floating point number, character, and all these things? If you don't know, I'm ready to tell you that. It seems that all of you are familiar. No problem, it's very good. So that int a, or maybe if I write int a in Java, and the next line I will be only, okay, I'll be allowed to write only the integer value, or I can pass, simply to say, I can pass only the integer type value into that particular variable a. I cannot write, if I mention int a, and after that if I write hi, Java will throw an error. Java will say, boss, you have already mentioned int a, and now you want to pass some string value. No, that is not accepted. But in Python is least bother which type of data you are passing. The reference will be changed dynamically. So if I call the, now how to change, so basically how we will decide the data type of the variable then, like which type of variable it is. So that depends on the data that we are passing. So in Python, when we are assigning the value 10 to a, we are assigning actually two things. We are assigning the value as well as the data type of this value, or of this particular value here. So high is also value, 10 is also value. 10 is basically numeric value, high is basically non-numeric value. So we are assigning two things. So let me call these things once again. If I write a equal to 10, now how to check which type of data it is? Suppose you are not familiar with this particular data type. Python has a method called type. If you call type method and if you pass that particular variable, okay. So this is the first method that I am showing. In fact, already I have shown you one method, that is print. So whenever you are writing some method, Python method, okay, built-in method, always you have to use bracket open and bracket close. So first bracket, okay. So this is the syntax for Python 3. If you are using Python 2, there is no, it is not required. So I will show you both the environment, Python 3 as well as Python 2. Okay, so there is a method called type. If you call type method, it will give you the data type of the particular variable. What it is saying? It is saying class int or integer class. What does it mean? Why it is showing class? Can anyone please tell me? Any idea?
So in Java, there are generally like integer class, string class. So all these things that comes under a particular abstractions. So here, I guess it defines the integer. It is defined in class, like class integer. It holds these types of values like that way. It is predefined, I guess.
Okay. It's
Sir,
almost closer. Yeah.
So like in Java, sir, objects are kept in classes. So like here it can be like these are objects and which are kept in class like integer.
So it has a nice name actually. This class has a nice name. Can you please tell me what is the name of that class? So there is something called primitive data types,
yes,
right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
These are basically primitive class. Okay, the primary class. So all these definitions are written in this. So this int and all these things, these are basically primitive data type or the primary data type. Okay, so it falls under this integer class. So in this particular integer class, all the functionalities are written over there. What does it mean? That means what all you can do or what all things you can do with this particular variable or with this particular value, that is written over there. So let me make it clear. When I'm passing 10 as a value to a, what all operations I can perform with a, that definition is written in this particular primitive class or the primary class. And this type of data are known as the primitive data types or the primary data type. because integer, character, all these things are basically primary data type, and floating point number or floating value, those are basically primitive data types. Unfortunately, in Python, there is nothing called character. So for any other programming language, like in Java, if I write A, then H, within double or single inverted comma, then it becomes a character, correct? For any other programming language, this particular value would be a character because it's a single value. But in Python, there's nothing called character. Everything is string. And I hope now you can understand how dynamically the values are being changed. First, I have written 10, and without any permission, I can make the change of that value. So it has some advantages. It has also some disadvantages. What are the advantages? So Python, it was specially designed for some mathematical calculation and statistical calculation. More precisely, it was designed for data science and algorithm. Now the problem is, if you are working for any data science environment, multiple times you may have to change the variable value. So because of that reason, Python was designed in this way, that you can change the value easily. So every time you don't have to specify that int a, then you have to provide the value, nothing like that. So automatically, dynamically it can change. So it has a disadvantage also. What is the disadvantage? Suppose I have created one database, and in that particular database, I have kept the variable in this format. Now what will happen? Today I have entered one particular name called Ram, and tomorrow someone will come and he or she will change the name called Sam. So Ram will become Sam, which is not expected. So because of that reason, Python has some mechanism. We will discuss that thing. There's something called tuple. Tuple and string. These two things are basically immutable object or immutable variable or data type, not object, immutable data type. So there is a concept called mutable and immutable. Anyway, let me not puzzle you. So I hope it is clear that what is dynamically typed programming language and what is statically typed programming language. Java is a statically typed programming language. So once you are declaring the variable data type, the data type will never change across the scope or throughout the scope until or unless you are not overwriting it. What does it mean? So I have written int a. Now if I write, instead of int a, if I write string a or str_a, then only it is possible to change the value. Otherwise, if I declare int a and if I try to pass the string or some other value, Java will not allow me to do that. So that is more like statically typed programming language, and Python, it's basically dynamically typed programming language. Any question, guys? If you have any questions, you can ask me straight away. Fair enough.
Sir, hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, Python is also a object-oriented programming, right?
True.
So,
Absolutely.
sir, why this difference?
It depends. See, all the different programming languages was designed for different purposes. It's not like that all the programming language was designed for only the single purpose. You are also a human being. I'm also a human being. But there are some characteristics different. So like that, you can consider in that way. Python is also an object-oriented programming language. Java is also an object-oriented programming language. But there are some characteristic differences. What are the differences? Like Python is dynamically typed programming language, Java is statically typed programming language. Because the purpose of Python was completely different from Java. Initially, Python was designed for different purposes altogether, and Java was designed for different purposes. Okay, is it the answer to your question?
Yes, sir.
Sir, just one. Sir,
Yeah,
just
sure.
one question.
Please.
Sir, in case of Java, if we are overwriting the value, then the value will be getting changed, right? So in that scenario, can we consider it as dynamic? because in the
No,
end
no, no,
only
no,
we
no.
can
So
change.
what you are talking about, is it variable overwriting the value means?
Yes,
Method
like we are
overriding?
overriding. No, no. Yes, sir. We are particularly we are changing the value at the runtime. That is,
No,
we
no,
are
that is the method overriding is completely different. That is possible here also. Don't try
I
to.
think, sir, if the value we can change, but the type of the value we can't change, right? In
Correct. That is what
Java,
I'm saying.
okay.
yes, yeah.
Okay. So basically, in case of dynamic programming, we can change the
Type also.
integer type and
Type.
string type, any type. But in case of, okay, sir, got it.
Yeah, you got it? Perfect.
Yep, thank you, sir.
Yeah, so we can change the type of the value in case of dynamically typed programming language, but we cannot change the type of the value here. We can change the value. So changing the value and changing the type of the value, both are not same. I hope this is clear now.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So object-oriented programming, we will come to this thing later. What is object-oriented programming? People who are not familiar with this term, we will discuss. This is because this is a big thing. Okay, I don't want to discuss this right away. Okay, fine. Python is, so it is a little bit more like some description. Python is easy. Python is easy to program and read, similar to Perl, but with powerful typing and object-oriented feature. So all these things, which is fine. Those are the characteristic. Why Python? So there are a hell lot of programming languages are there. Why we will Python? There are a few things. Because of that reason, Python is so popular. Software quality, developer productivity. Software quality means what? Python focus on reliability and all these things. So basically, software integration you will find when you will start working with Python. You will find end-to-end support. There are some other statistical programming languages are also there, like SAS. Okay, there is something called R, Julia. But the problem is, if you are working in a particular IT environment, in that particular environment, you will not get end-to-end support like Python. So that is what I'm saying, that it is software quality. So it is a very nice build quality. If you're not being able to understand, no problem. Later on, when you see the application of Python, you'll be able to understand. Second, developer productivity. So the same thing, if you have to write in Java, you may have to write in 10 lines. Suppose there is an objective. Suppose if I just say you that you just have to create a counter. So if you have to create a counter in Java, you may have to write 10 lines of code. But the same thing, if you have to write it in Python, you can write it in only 1 or 2 lines. So there is a library called counter. You just have to import that library. That's it. I hope this one is clear now. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, can you explain the developer productivity once more?
sure. Developer productivity means, suppose you are a developer, which particular programming language you will go for the same purpose. One programming language, you have to write 10 lines of code. And another programming language, you have to write, let's say, 3 lines of code. Which one you will like?
Sir, the 3 lines.
Quite obvious. We are in smart age. Definitely we will not do something called hard work. So hard working is fine, but smart working is much better than hard working. So
Yes.
you can do a smart work if you use Python. The program portability. Program portability means this thing is also there in Java. So Python, you can use it as a script. If you use Python as a script, then you can just write some set of code and you can keep it within your printer and you can run it from any Python environment. So maybe I can just show you quickly. I'm just stopping my screen, or I'll stop sharing my screen for a minute. Let me prepare a code, then I will show you. What does it mean exactly? Give me 1 minute, please. Just give me 1 minute, please. Okay, guys, I can share my screen now. Just 1 minute. So, what I have done, I am showing you. So, I have written a code, simple code, a equal to 13. It's more like a calculator, okay? I have written a equal to 13, b equal to 12, and c equal to a plus b. So, you all know what will be the outcome. It would be 25, correct? 13 plus 12. Now, I am also writing print and I want to pass this message. The result is that colon and then C. Comma C means you can write plus C or comma C. That means after this message you want to pass the value. So C is a variable. So that variable this is also known as the string concatenation. So that we will see later, however. So string concatenation, in string concatenation what we do basically, we generally concatenate a value of variable with a string. So these two things we are clubbing actually. We have a variable and we are concatenating with a string. So this is not exactly a string concatenation, but yeah, it is kind of we are just passing the value. Now what we are doing, we are just saving this file. So I'm writing save as, and I have given a name. You can see this file name test.py. I have given that name test.py. Py means it is the Python extension, like Java. In Java, you have to write it is in Java. You might have seen that .java extension we used to use, and then you have to select all file. If you select all file, then test.py. If you write and then save these things, it will be treated as a Python file. But it is nothing but a notepad. It's a text file. It's a simple text file. You can copy these things. So there is no environment dependency. It's not like that if you want to run this file from your laptop, since I have created in my laptop, you want to run it in your laptop, you cannot run it. You can run it. What all you have to do, once your code is ready, you just have to right click and you have to see the location where it is located. For me, this is the location. So what I have to do, I have to get into that particular Anaconda prompt and I have to do CD. CD means change directory. Okay. Then I am giving the path. This is the complete path where my code is located. Then press enter. Your path is ready. Then you have to type Python space test.py. Remember, this is the Python file I have created. It is not a file, basically script. I should use the right word. This is basically the Python script. If I write that and press enter, it will give me the result. This was the message I have written within print statement or print function. The result is colon and then 25. 25 is the calculation part. This is the calculation. So Python, you can use it as a calculator also. Because of this reason, and that's why I have written program portability. So it is basically very much portable. Wherever, it doesn't matter, whatever be your Python code, once you have created the code, you can put it in pen drive and you can run it from any Python environment. What all you have to do, you have to set up the path where the Python script is located. That's it. Then simply type Python space the script name. Then press enter. Everything will be executed. So that is the advantage. It's very fast. It is lightning fast actually. Okay. Any question here, guys? Guys, any question? How to create a Python script or anything related to this code? It's a very simple 3 to 4 lines of code, but yeah. All right. Now I can use Python as a calculator. You see that? Let's see. You can use Python as a calculator also. This environment, whatever be the environment you can see right now, this environment is known as REPL, R-E-P-L. R stands for read, E stands for evaluate, P stands for print, L stands for loop. Read, evaluate, print, and loop. Combinedly, it is known as REPL.
Sir, E stands for what? Please pardon.
Sure. E stands for evaluate. Evaluation.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Read, evaluate, print, and loop. So these 4 operations you can perform. It is basically a dynamic environment. The environment you can see in front of you can perform all these 4 operations. You can read something, you can evaluate something, you can print something, and you can loop something. I mean, if you want to perform some looping operation, all these 4 operations you can perform. Fair enough. Let's proceed now. Support library. It has a huge support library, and because of this reason, and that is the beauty of Python, by the way. Because of this reason, it is very much popular in data science environment. So you practically you don't have to write your own code. So there are a hell lot of libraries out there. You just have to use all those libraries. Okay. Now, component integration. So it is almost similar to software quality. Component integration means, suppose you want a particular programming language which will fetch the data from the database, and then it will run some logistic regression, linear regression, that sort of code, and then finally it will publish that code to a particular, maybe some other environment. That's a big data environment or all. So Python has an end-to-end integration for each and every IT environment. I mean, most of the famous IT environment, I can say, not each and every, but most of the famous IT environment, whatever be the famous IT environment which are available across the globe. So for all those IT environment, Python integration is there. That means if you know on programming language, it is basically a lifetime solution for you. So that this particular word is very much popular for a particular company named Apple. If you purchase any Apple product, it is basically one-time purchase and lifetime solution. It is something like that. Once you learn Python, you practically don't have to learn multiple programming languages after that. Because using Python, you can do all the things related to data science, related to web development, related to database programming. I will show you all those steps, what all things we can do with Python. And finally, enjoyment. I mean, once you will get a lot of support, of course you will be enjoying. It is much more easier, the productivity will be higher, support libraries are huge. If you know only one language, you can do all the things, then of course you will enjoy that. It's basically enjoyment. You can go through it. I will share this material. This is more like a Python journey. So that particular scientist's name who has invented Python, his name is Guido van Dussem, who is basically a Netherlandian. He had invented Python in early 90s, okay? And he got influenced by one particular opera. It's basically a comedy group in Netherlands, okay? The comedy group name is Monty Python. So from there, they have taken the name called Python. And if you see, this is an old graph, by the way. I've taken this source from Indeed, actually. If you see the job trend, Java, PHP, and all these things, different programming languages are there, different environments are there. Out of the Python growth is very high. This is more like a time series graph. It's a line graph, okay? So if you see this graph, Python trend is very high rather than Java and other things. So demand of Python in the market is very high. Fair enough. Now, guys, I don't know whether all of you are familiar with this name, but I hope most of you are familiar with these two names, at least, YouTube and Google. Okay, I have taken 4, giant company: Yahoo, YouTube, Dropbox, and Google. YouTube initially it was a different company. It was not a Google company, by the way. Initially it was a different company altogether. Later Google has acquired YouTube. It was not a Google product, by the way. It's not a statewide product. If you see, YouTube is original. If you go to YouTube's Wikipedia, you will find YouTube was initially written in Python and MySQL. Yahoo also same. In fact, in Google, it is one of the most popular search engine across the globe. They also use Python in the backend. So Google's backbone is basically Python. Same is true with Dropbox and Yahoo. And guys, the world's most secure operating system, that is Linux environment, any flavor of Linux, whether it is Kali Linux or maybe Red Hat or maybe whatever, Ubuntu or something like that. So for all the Linux environment, the backbone is Python. Now I hope you can understand how important programming language it is, or how important framework it is overall. Because of that reason, Google can trust it, YouTube can trust it, and all these giant companies they have started trusting, and more precisely, some operating system was also created by that Python. Okay. Now traditional uses of Python: embedded scripting, artificial intelligence. This is our actually lookout area. Artificial intelligence, image processing, GUI application, like you can write any GUI application. Though actually Python is a very bad option, to be very honest, for this GUI application. You can create some app like Android app using Python, but I would suggest you not to go with that, because that is the worst option. So everything has some limitations, okay? So Python has that limitations. Now database programming, system utility, then internet scripting. You can write some internet scripting, if I just say, then there is an environment called Django. So Django is a framework for internet purpose. So you can create your website and everything using Python. So Django is basically a Python-based framework. There is another internet-based framework, I can take the name, called Flask. But that was not for website designing. So it was for a different purpose altogether. We'll see that. But anyway, so that's all about the Python utility part, like where all actually can apply. In fact, Python, so mainly Python nowadays most popular in 3 to 4 areas. One is artificial intelligence, deep learning, and all these things. Second is ethical hacking or any kind of hacking. Hackers prefer Python. Third is new operating system designing and game designing. So for those purposes also Python is very popular. Now I hope you can understand that is good enough to make you convinced to use Python. Where all we can use Python, and this is some simple example. There are a hell lot of examples are there. Where all we can use Python in data analytics purpose, weather forecasting, scientific analysis, ad targeting, risk management. So actually, I have exposure in this 2 domain. So I have worked on this ad targeting as well as risk management also. So they are all actually we can use Python.
Sir, scientific analysis means like molecules and analysis.
Yeah, you can talk about anything. Nowadays, So I hope you guys are familiar with some called meter.
Yes, yes.
So, so one thing, I have no interest to altimeter as an environment, but yeah, you can see this graphs. Okay, so different graphs you can see publishing. They are giving statistics. So these graphs will tell you actually day-to-day basis how many cases got increased or decreases. In fact, you can see the pattern actually. So there are several patterns are there. So you can see newly infected versus newly recovered in India. So how many new cases got recovered and how many cases newly got infected. So they are going almost side by side. So this type of graph actually you can do it through Python. So the backend, whatever be the scientific analysis they are doing, that you can do, that they can do through Python. In fact, you can talk about molecule, you can consider, you can talk about some other things also. Doesn't matter. Okay. It could be any research or maybe any scientific work. You can use Python for data analysis. That's what I wanted to mention here. Fine. How to get Python? Okay. Is it
Yes,
the answer
yes.
to your question?
Yes,
or
yes.
you have something? Okay. So how to get Python? I hope that I don't have to tell you because all of you have the knowledge of Python. So that means you have installed Python somehow. But if you ask me how to install Anaconda, then I can help you out. If you are not familiar with how to install Anaconda, okay? So throughout the scope, we will use two different environments. One is this Jupyter Notebook, Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook. Another one is Canopy, which is known as InThoughts Canopy. For our machine learning exercise, we will use Canopy, and we will go through some Python tasks, simple Python tasks without machine learning. Then we will use Jupyter Notebook. You can use the same code in Jupyter Notebook and you can run it.
Sir, can't we use command prompt?
Okay, good question. Of course, we can use, but the thing is, if you use command prompt, the command prompt has some limitations. The limitations are like multiple lines if you have, you cannot directly run it. So it is not for development purpose. Command prompt is basically for simple practice purpose. So when you want to get into some development environment, in that case you have to use something called IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Jupyter Notebook is basically a web-based IDE, a browser-based. I should not say web-based. It's basically a browser-based IDE. I hope you guys are familiar with Jupyter Notebook, right? If you use Jupyter Notebook, then you will find every time it will open in any browser, either Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome, or maybe your Microsoft Edge or something like that. So any kind of browser it will capture. What will be the default browser? So those are basically ID. What is the need of ID? ID has multiple advantages. So let me open up. This is basically the answer. This should be answer, or maybe this will answer to your question. Just wait a minute. If I just open the Jupyter Notebook, if you guys are not familiar, you can take a note also. Jupyter. This is the spelling. If you know other spelling of Jupyter, forget it for the time being. So Jupyter, Jupyter Notebook. It will take some time. Actually, my system is also older system. So because of that, it is taking some time, but not an issue. Yeah. Now it is coming. So if you open your Jupyter Notebook, initially you will get this sort of environment. Okay. Now, you will find a button called New. So here there is an option called Python 3. So which Python environment you are using? If in your system, if you have multiple Python environment, Python 2, Python 3, Python 1, something like that, then you can select any one of these environment. But since I have only Python 3 environment for Jupyter, so I can open it up. Now I am showing you that what is the benefit, why we will need some ID, why it's not from the command prompt. So if I write some, you see, it is showing me some hints. What I have done, don't worry guys, I don't want to jump the gun, but yeah, just to show you. What I have done, I have created one variable called A equal to hello world. The moment I'm trying to create the variable, let's say I'm trying to create a variable called B. If I press single inverted comma, automatically double inverted comma will come. That is one hint. Okay. Now, suppose I just want to see what all things or what all operations I can perform with A. What I have to do, I just have to type the name of the variable A, then dot, then tab. If I press that, I can see all the operations that I can perform. Suppose I just want to capitalize. That means first letter would be in capital. It's more like actually sentence case. If you are familiar with sentence case in Word or maybe PowerPoint presentation, the first letter would be in capital. Rest of the letter would be in small. Suppose I just want to, there's something called upper. Okay, there's a method called upper. All the letter would be in uppercase. So this type of hints, what you can see in front of you, this kind of hints you will not get here. If I just do the same thing. Sorry, it should be word, but anyway, no problem. And then if I press dot and tab, so this type of thing will come. I cannot select it from there. It can give me a reference, but I cannot select it from there. These all operations I can perform. I have to type manually. So that is the disadvantage. And there are advantages are there. So this prompt we will use only for practice purpose. And that is also very primary level. Not all the operations. We can perform all the operations, but that is much more complicated. And more precisely, you cannot save these things. You cannot save the prompt. Command prompt is always available in runtime environment. Once you have shut down the system, all the existence will go out. You cannot save it. So that is one disadvantage I can say. But this thing, Anaconda or maybe in Jupyter Notebook, you can save it. You can use it later. So your code would be intact. And there are a lot of other benefits are there. When you will be working in a real-time environment, in that case, actually, it is better to use some IDE. But initially, we will go with this black screen only. This is Jupyter Notebook. Sorry. Anaconda prompt. Making sense?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So there are some other examples. You can just go through it. Python uses for data analytics. These are the company who are using Python as a data analytics. They're actually nowadays you know better than me actually what all companies are using Python. Just Google it, you will find it. So Python timeline, Python journey was started in the year of 1994. The initial version was Python. This is a little bit older data, but the latest version is Python 3.7.3. It is showing Python 3.4, but the latest version is 3.7.3. And there are two versions which are very popular across the globe. Python 2 environment and Python 3 environment. Though nowadays actually Python 2 become very, Python 2, a lot of supports they have stopped. They are stopping, but still, a lot of organizations they prefer Python 2 because of its stability. The most reliable and the most stable version is Python 2.7, which was released on July 3rd, July 2010. This is the most stable version of Python. So like you can compare, so stability if I just say, you can compare with Windows XP and Windows 8 or maybe Windows 7 and Windows 8. So Windows 8 has a lot of problems you must be knowing compared to Windows 7. So Windows 7 was the most stable, Windows XP was the most stable OS, and then Windows 7, then Windows 10. Like that, Python 2.7 was the most stable version of Python. So what is the difference then? Why you should learn both the version? Python 2 you should learn because till date, a lot of companies they are using Python 2 in their environment. So they can ask you any questions if you know Python. So they would expect that you know Python 2 as well as Python 3. So you should know both the version, so that anything which is going in agile fashion, or which is basically there are some old projects which are going on, you can give us support to those projects, and the latest version which is Python 3.7. So you can use both the versions. Fair enough. Okay. Now let's jump to let's make our hands dirty a little bit. So getting help in Python. So like help is available for any options. So there are a hell lot of areas where we will use help. In fact, in Windows, if I just talk about some Microsoft Office, okay, in Microsoft Office environment also there is help button for any kind of help. So how to use help in Python environment? So when I'm saying method or built-in function, then always okay. In colloquial language, I will use method and function interchangeably. But method and function are not same, guys. Method and function completely different. So when a function belongs to a class, that will become a method. So method exists within a class, but function may or may not exist within a class. But in colloquial language, and traditionally, I used to say method function interchangeably, but don't get confused. Okay, people who are completely from programming background, they might get stuck with this idea. Like, oh, sometimes why Nilanjan is saying method, sometimes why he is saying functions. So don't get actually bogged down with that. Okay, let's come back to the point. Suppose I need some help from Python. Suppose I'm a programmer, I'm working in this particular environment, and I need a help from Python. How to get that help? So what all you have to type, you just have to type help, then bracket open, bracket close, the first bracket more precisely, and then press enter. Now you can see there's a message they have printed. Welcome to Python 3.7's help utility. That means you are into the help section. Now I want the help from Python for a particular purpose. Let's say I'm very new in Python. I have no idea what is a for loop. There is a loop called for loop. Suppose I want to explore that. Just type for and press enter. And you see, it has given you the hints. The for statement is used to iterate over the elements, blah, blah, blah. That means it is giving you the complete hints. So basically what for loop does, it will give you that idea. Likewise, you can do a lot of things. Now, how to get out of this particular environment or get rid of this particular environment? Type Q. First time you have to type Q, this Q, small q. Okay. One time if you type small q, you will come to that help button again. You see, initially it was the button. Okay. After typing this method, help bracket open bracket close. After that, you got this thing, right? Help, then arrow. Then you have to type some word over here. Whatever be the word you want to search, or whatever for which word actually you need some help. You have to type the help. And then how to get out of this environment? First time you have to type Q. Then again, second time if you type Q, sorry, Q, bracket open bracket close. Sorry. Oh, sorry, it's not Q. It would be quit. Oh. So quit was basically used for Python 3.6. Yeah, it's my bad. Anyway, so 2 times you have to type Q without any bracket or something. Again, I'm showing you once again the steps. First, you are typing help, bracket open, bracket close. Press enter. Then type the keyword for which you need the help. Press enter. Now you are here. How to get out of this particular environment? Type Q for one time. Type Q for second time. Then press enter. Then you are in Python environment. Then how to get out of this Python environment? Type exit. Bracket open, bracket close. This is the method. What is method? What is function? If you don't know, I will explain you. Okay. Press enter. You are no more into Python. You cannot do 1 plus 2 equal to 3 or 1 minus 1 plus 2 equal to just 2. Let's see what happens. It's not recognizable because we are not in Python environment. Now if we just get into the Python environment, just type Python and press 1 plus 2 and enter. Now you can use it as a calculator. Okay, let's proceed to the next level. Enough talk about help. So, yeah, comments and literals. So how to comment out, by the way, in Python environment, how to comment out and what is comment? Comment is basically used for 2 purposes. One is, okay, I'm just copying these things and I'm pasting it for multiple times. Suppose I don't want to execute this second line. You just have to use a hash before that line, which is known as the commenting out or comment out. If you comment out one line, that line will not be executed. System will skip that. System will not consider that particular line. What is the need of it? Why do you need to comment out suddenly? There are multiple needs. One need you can see. Suppose some lines I don't want to execute for the timing, but I don't want to delete also. I am keeping it for future reference. In that case, you can comment it out. And second thing, suppose I have some, some code, some real-time code, okay? Let's say I have some real-time code. And there I can comment out for our better understanding. What's the first line I have written? Set the working directory. It's more like a storytelling. You are writing some story, step 1, step 2, step 3, something like that. So your code should be something like that, so that near future, if a developer come to your place, or if a person come to your place, he or she can understand that what you have written. Otherwise, even if you are working for the same organization for last 5 years, today if you have written some code and tomorrow if you come back, you will not be able to understand that for which purpose actually I have written this code. So it is for your understanding and for someone else's understanding. So it is better to comment out, or maybe you can pass some message. Commenting out means you are passing some message that what this particular code for, or why you are developing this code, or why you are writing this code. Is it clear? Why do you need to comment out? So what is
Yes,
the
sir.
need of commenting? So there are two needs. One is basically to flow or to create the flow in proper manner. When you are writing some code in nimble manner, you should follow a proper step. That is also very good practice. Otherwise, tomorrow if you come back, you will forget everything. So step 1, step 2, step 3, you are writing some hints. Okay, this is for this purpose. Just to see these things, anybody can understand. Okay, and second thing is, suppose I have multiple lines of code, and for the timing, I don't want to use this code. Maybe it may should happen tomorrow. Today you are writing some code, tomorrow maybe it is not needed for the timing. Suppose you have written on for loop and it is not needed for the timing. Are you going to delete that? No. Better to keep it. So that near future you can come back and use it again. Because of that reason also you can use one or multiple lines comment out. Suppose here is the total code for some reason, and these 2 lines are not required for the timing. Just comment it out. This is one way to comment out. But when you have multiple lines, you can comment out in this fashion. 3 inverted comma. Instead of double inverted comma, you are putting triple inverted comma. And take the entire code within that inverted comma. This is also commenting out. So using triple inverted comma and hash. So when you are using hash, you have to use hash for each line. Whatever be the line, you have to use hash for each line. But if you are using triple inverted comma, it is not needed. But the beauty of hash is it does not publish any outcome. But if you execute this particular line, it will give you some outcome. So it's better to use hash before each line if you want to comment out 4 different lines. So these are 4 different lines. Now let's use hash for each line. If I execute, it will not show me any output. Okay, by the way, when we are using Jupyter Notebook, there is another way also you can comment out something. How to do that? So by default, each row is basically code. And now you can select that particular row and you can click on Markdown. If you click on Markdown and execute, it will become a plain text. It will be converted into .md format, which is nothing but some Markdown format. It's basically plain text format. It will no more, it will not be a programming line. By default, each line are coding line. But if you wish, you can make it Markdown. Suppose if I just make this Markdown, it will not give me any output. It will not just give me any output. Okay, I hope we are good with how to comment out and what is the need of commenting or any programming language. Then type of numbers that we will discuss later, not today. Identifier. Okay, this is a nice point. So Python follows some rule, some grammar when Python is declaring some variable name. So the simple rule what Python follows, you are allowed to use any value from small a to small z and capital A to capital Z, and also you can use 0 to 9, any combination of 0 to 9, and as a special character Python can only allow underscore. So these things are accepted. Small a to capital A, yes, small a to capital Z, capital A to capital Z, 0 to 9, and underscore. So as an initial position of any variable, suppose the variable name that you are writing, my first variable or my first var. So in that case, you are allowed to use underscore as a beginning position, or maybe any value, any alphabets, either capital or small, doesn't matter. Any alphabets you are allowed to use. I'm just giving an example. You can use underscore my var, accepted. You can write my var equal to 10, accepted. You can write my var equal to 10, accepted. You can write my var equal to 10, accepted. But you are not allowed to write something like this. One my var. You see, first time you are observing the error. It's basically a syntactical error. So guys, error is very important. You have to follow the error. So 0 to 9 you can use, but not as an initial position. Any value after the first position. So you can write something like this: my to var my m to y. You can use that. So only as an initial position of your variable you can use capital or small a to z or underscore. But 0 to 9 you can use, but not as an initial position. Clear? I think this is good enough. It's almost 11. I don't want to. So we can do one thing. On Saturday, you can give a fresh start, or we can just we can quickly recap all these things, and we'll start with the data type, different data types actually, and then we'll proceed accordingly. Any questions? Any doubt?
Sir, how can I open Jupyter Notebook, sir? Can you tell
Yeah,
me
sure.
1 second?
Definitely. Why not? You have to open the Anaconda prompt. Doesn't matter whatever be the
Actually,
you have to type this particular
hello,
name. Anaconda prompt.
sir, actually, I don't have Anaconda prompt.
You don't have Anaconda. Okay, no problem.
Python.
So you don't install Anaconda even. On
No,
Saturday
sir.
session.
Python, and I am working on Python cell, sir. Actually.
No. That means you are using Python IDE, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. I will help you out. In fact, on that particular, so next session will be on Saturday. So what I will do, on that particular session, I will install Anaconda into your system. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So don't install Anaconda right now. I will install and everybody will see that. People who are not familiar with Anaconda environment, they will be also able to understand how to install Anaconda.
Okay, sir.
First 15 to 20 minutes, we will install these things. Then we'll go ahead. So Saturday, maybe we'll have more time. So maybe we can connect somewhere around 4:45 or something. So we have a session for 5 p.m. So we can connect somewhere around 4:45 or 50. 50 will be good enough. So we can connect somewhere around 4:50. We can just start installing this Anaconda. So Anaconda installation will be going on, and on parallel, we will continue our task. So today actually is the first session of Python. That's why I haven't taken a huge thing. But next day onwards, we'll start doing hands-on. Okay, so each session will be hands-on. And more importantly, just to give you a heads up, please make sure that all of you are having Anaconda. And if you don't have, on that day, on that session, please follow me and install the Anaconda. So that you will not feel that I'm not being able to follow Nilanjan. So that should not be the case. So we all will be on the same page. Okay, guys. If you have any questions, I have stopped sharing my screen. In fact, I can pause the recorder. Yeah, please go ahead.
One question. Sir,
Yeah.
before initializing the variable, can we use underscore like my var underscore equal to 10? Can we use in that way?
My var underscore
Equal to 10.
Yeah. Underscore you can underscore you can use it in the very beginning or maybe at the end in mid of something. I can just quickly show you that. Maybe I have some 3 minutes of time. I can just show you quickly. There it is. Okay. So here all actually you can use. I just have given one name. You can write anything, doesn't matter. This is accepted. You can write my underscore var accepted. But just to give you a heads up that do not use 0 to 9 or any combination of 0 to 9 at the beginning.
Sir, underscore can be used at the beginning of the.
Yeah, that is what I mentioned, right? You can see this. This is the first example was basically with underscore. Underscore my var you can write or underscore abc underscore xyz, whatever, doesn't matter. It is your variable name. Yeah, initially you can use either underscore or anything from A to Z. I mean that A to Z would be either capital or small, doesn't matter. These two things you can use or any combinations of A to Z.
Even we can use my underscore 10.
My underscore
10, 10.
My yeah, sure. Why not? Of course, whatever, doesn't matter. That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. After the first value, you can use anywhere 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Then actually you can write var something. You can use it, not an issue. But initially you cannot use 0 to 9.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Perfect. Any questions, guys?
Hello, sir. I am
Yeah.
Chandrasekhar here, sir.
Mhm,
Sir, you know
Chandrasekhar.
Django, sir?
Sorry?
Sir, you know Django framework?
Yeah, I know.
You told that. Sir, I have a question regarding that, sir.
No, this is Chandrasekhar, sir. We take this call separately because this is not a Django session.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any other question, guys? Okay, guys, no problem. So I will again share this material. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I have a question. Sir,
Please,
can you
please.
explain the software quality once more? Because I couldn't understand the coherence point so for that reason.
Okay. Fine. Just let me go back. Okay. So basically, software quality, what I was trying to say is in software quality. So when you are using Python as a software, okay, Python is basically a programming language. Of course, you have to use some software environment like Anaconda or something like that. There actually the readability of Python or maybe the end-to-end integration of Python is very high. It means suppose you are in a particular environment and within that particular environment, if you have multiple other dependency, and suppose
Hello, sir. I can't hear you.
am I audible to you now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just 1 minute, please. Okay. So when you are using basically Python environment, this Python environment, it is so easy that you can easily track and easily keep all the logic. Coherence means is nothing but basically you can keep some logic very clearly and very nimble manner. You can very quickly implement any software environment, or you can using Python, you can develop any software very quickly And more precisely, apart from any other programming language, using Python environment is much more easier. So in that way, I'm saying the software quality is high. And more precisely, you can integrate Python in any environment. Any standard IT framework can integrate Python. So that means, so that is coming under this section, basically component integration. Component integration means, suppose you are working in a particular data science environment, and you have to, as I've given you the example, you have to pull out some data from the database, and finally you have to push that data to a particular, let's say, a particular, website. Okay, so this end-to-end integration, some particular languages or some particular softwares are there which cannot handle. Like Java is very nice programming language, and Java is also basically, Java has a very nice environment. But the problem is Java cannot directly handle the data science environment. So there is no support library. There's no proper support library. So let me make it very concise. So Python has basically a wide range of support for multiple aspects. So one day probably you will not be able to understand. So day by day, when we learn all these things, you'll be able to understand that what are the ways actually Python can help us. And you will see that there are a hell lot of ways actually you can use Python to enhance your productivity. Because of that reason, I'm saying that software quality is very high. Is it making sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
So like you, when you were declaring the variable, starting from my var 123, then equal to, so did you mean that we cannot start naming a variable from the digits?
Right, absolutely. That is why I
Okay, and
wanted
so
to name it.
we could be entering it in between or at the end as well.
Correct.
Okay,
But
sir.
we cannot start with 0 to 9, any digit.
Okay, so but it has to start from a string, like a letter.
Either it could be a letter or maybe an underscore.
Underscore
Those two
or
things,
any
yeah,
character.
both two things are allowed when you are declaring a variable.
Okay.
Clear?
Sir, another question. Sir,
Okay,
you have
please.
mentioned Jupyter to be, means I missed the term which you used. You used web-based Python environment. Jupyter is a
No, it's not web-based. It uses browser. It will use your browser. Suppose in my system, the default browser is Chrome, Google Chrome. So that's the reason when I have clicked on Jupyter and Space Notebook, automatically it opened in this Chrome environment. So most of the ID, they have their own interface. But Jupyter is such an environment, they will use your native browser. Whatever be the native browser which is there in your system. It could be anything, like whatever be the default browser, either Mozilla Firefox, maybe Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, it will use that. But remember guys, it will not be connected to any internet. So one thing immediately will come to your mind, okay, Jupyter Notebook we are using, that means it will consume the internet. No, you see, here what it is written, localhost, and 8888, it is basically the port number. If you know the porting concept and all these things, then it's fine. Otherwise, it is not also a problem. But more precisely, what I was trying to point, localhost means it is opening in local environment only. So you can open your Google Chrome without internet also. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So that's the way actually it is opening. It is opening your Google Chrome, but without internet. But if your internet is there, it does not mean that it will consume that internet. It is a browser-based environment, but not internet-based environment or cloud-based environment.
Okay, sir.
Yes? Perfect. Anything else, guys? Any other question? Seems like all of you are okay. So shall we consider as a wrap up?
Yeah, I think.
Yes, sir, we can, sir.
Perfect. So yeah, so then I'm wrapping up the session, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for attending and your patience.
Thank you.
Okay,
See
sir.
you on
Thank you, sir.
Saturday. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you.
Good night, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.